know who these jabronis are, but Dave Rubin is here, and it's called The Exact Moment Dave Rubin Became a Conservative. The second the first check cleared.
So we first wanted to discuss the cultural conservative shift that I feel like has really been hitting hard the past started maybe even like 7 or 8 years ago, and then slowly it's been ramping up, and then recently it's just exploded. You have Joe Rogan, who's just a lifelong liberal going to the right. You have Elon, Mark Zuckerberg, even lending credence to...
This is all not left-right. This is all class. Upper class versus lower class.
To Donald Trump after the attempt. And you actually started as a liberal commentating for the Young Turks. And then you started to see things a little bit differently and started going to the right.
That was capitalist as well.
Where do you think that all started from?
So I started with the Young Turks in about 2014. And although I don't have a lot of great things to say about Cenk from the Young Turks, I do always give the guy credit for he was early in on digital media, which now has completely dwarfed mainstream media. And even just this morning when I was on the plane, I was flipping through Twitter and it's like MSNBC's being sold off and CNN's about to fire half their people. And there's just complete upheaval now. So I do give credit to the guy for kind of getting in early on that. I was always kind of a liberal growing up. I'm from New York.
This is the problem, though, because the media companies are owned by the upper class. It's independent media like this that is going to be able to like push back. But people like Dave Rubin are, they don't have any values whatsoever, and so their opinions are bought and paid for. And so the upper class still takes this secondary media, which is why you see them going after places like TikTok, where they didn't have as much of an impact, although, of course, it gets more corporatized every fucking moment.
It was just sort of like a New York old school liberal, which is very, very different.
An old school New York liberal. Spider-Kowski, give one a Simzoid.
As I'm sure you guys know from what the modern sort of framing of what a liberal is. I was liberal in that, like, I didn't really care who you married. I didn't care what you smoked. In some sense, I'm still, at least I consider myself begrudgingly pro-choice.
Begrudgingly pro-choice.
But that was sort of when things work, you can kind of be liberal. And that was what most people were in America at the time. I'm a child of the 80s. I'm 48. Like, that was really how things were. And then
when things work,
conservatives were thought of as a little...
The things that you liked about your life were after liberals started taking over.
More conservatives kind of, were more about business and war or something like that. They were meaner, or, you picture like The Simpsons, all the rich guys in the room with Mr. Burns and the lightning in the background and Dracula's there and everybody else. And
you learned nothing from that.
Started at the Young Turks, and they were kind of, to me, they were like liberals, but they were hopped up on caffeine. They were just screaming all the time. Everybody was a racist and a bigot and a buffoon that they were fighting, and I kind of liked it. And I think that's
he literally was like, I don't even know what they were saying. He doesn't have a fucking single like conviction at all, and Cenk's dumbass just hires whoever the fuck.
Actually, what caught on culturally for the progressives is that they were just like juiced up about everything.
We don't have money on the left, and that's really what it is. Because the left and leftists it's more about class. It's more about bottom to top than it is about left to right, really. It's just that we also have left. Why have conviction when make money from saying what I'm paid for? True. I wish I could get paid from some just like rich benefactor. All I have are rich uncles in chat
all the time, and they were just so right and everybody else was so wrong. And then after about a year there, I started thinking something is not right here. Like there, sometimes when you just feel something for a while and then you don't have like the exact touch point yet, but I was just kind of feeling like this can't make sense. Like, how are we so right about everything? And it's all so obvious, and all of these people are just evil and bigots and racist.
Holy fucking shit.
Racist. Like, it can't be.
It can't. It can't be. Dave Rubin, it really can be. It can. It's just so fucking, like, you're just putting your blinders up. Holy fucking shit. I'm just in total fucking denial of every single example of a conservative there is.
And then there were a couple moments along the way that kind of broke me. The most famous one that I think became way bigger than me was when Sam Harris was on Real Time with Bill Maher with Ben Affleck, and Affleck was on, and people think he maybe was getting a little juiced up for Batman at the time. And they started discussing radical Islam, and Sam was trying to explain that you have to be able to criticize ideas without being bigoted towards people, and Affleck just jumped all over
But Ben Affleck isn't a leftist.
Sam Harris, who's a very soft-spoken atheist. He was on the show to talk about mindful meditation, basically, a new book he had about that. And Bill Maher, who was a lifelong liberal.
I'm pretty sure Sam Harris is a racist or also, but maybe not in the ways that like he would recognize as racist because he's Sam Harris. He's a little smarmy. Like Sam Harris has like colonizer racism. You know what I mean? Like he assumes character change depending on like if you believe in Islam, and you're like born there or whatever. In one of these countries that has like an Islamist country, he just has like a character idea about you in his head, and he kind of plays that, and that's what's racist about him. He's not like, I don't think Sam Harris thinks that white people are like supreme or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Sam Harris could be correct, but he's incapable of getting out of his own ass. The upper class affirms weaponizes our bigotry to have us fight each other, and it works, Dave. It literally does.
Liberal, live and let live kind of thing. And basically he called them gross and racist. That was the line. And I was watching.
I kind of want to see the gross and racist clip now. Ben Affleck and Sam
So the other thing we want to talk about, of course, is
it's the most watched part right here, just at the beginning. Okay.
that you and I have been trying to make the case, I think, I have anyway, that
Bill Maher sucks.
liberals need to stand up for liberal principles. This is what I said on last week's show. Obviously, I got a lot of hate for it, but all I'm saying is that liberal principles like freedom of speech, freedom to practice any religion you want without fear of violence, freedom to leave a religion, equality for women, equality for minorities, including homosexuals. These are liberal principles that liberals applaud for. But then when you say in the Muslim world this is what's lacking, then they get upset.
Do they? I don't do liberal. Maybe liberals do. I don't know. I've never heard like I've been critical of Islam forever, so I guess my circles don't have this.
Yeah. Well, liberals have really failed on the
I think this is a misunderstanding of political labeling.
topic of theocracy. They'll criticize white theocracy. They'll criticize Christians. They'll still get at.
I still hear people say this Sam Harris shit. They'll criticize Christians, but they won't criticize Islam. Who is criticizing Christianity and not Islam? Please show me. I would love to talk to these dumbasses. I've never met an atheist that is incapable of criticizing Islam.
Agitator over the abortion clinic bombing that happened in
In fact, I've met a lot of atheists that are just fucking Islamophobes.
1984. But when
Mostly Sargon atheists, which are cultural Christians anyway.
when you want to talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world, I would argue that liberals have failed us. And
There's a lot of atheists that follow the Sargon path, and probably some of them fell off the fucking wagon and became Christians again. There are a lot of them that were not atheists because they had a reason. There's so many stories over the years of dumb motherfuckers that are atheists for the wrong fucking reasons. They're like atheists because like they disagree with one part of something. It could be anything. Could be like, I think evolution is true, but like they don't have any follow through on the system. Like they don't even understand like that religion is a systemic thing, and their brain just stops working. It's sad. I guess in general, I suppose systemic analysis is needed for anyone to understand anything to a real degree, but no one ever wants to go like, why does that work? I think you genuinely have to be a curious person to get the right answer.
the crucial point of confusion, thank you.
Thank God you're here.
This meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
Right.
And that is it's intellectually ridiculous. Even it gets
So hold on,
conflated
are
with
you
racism.
the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're the interpreter of that, so you can say, well, this is.
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
but why are you so hostile about this concept?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those stateless, shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to
not.
what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, like we are endowed by our forefathers with an inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have
That's
ideas
just a fact.
like blasphemy.
It's an ugly
apostasy.
Yeah, I disagree with Ben Affleck, but I don't agree with Sam Harris at the same time. I mean, not necessarily in this conversation. I don't think this is a left-right thing, though. I do think that Islam is filled with bad ideas. I don't think that saying Islam is filled with bad ideas is Islamophobic. I don't think that has anything to do with left or right. In fact, wouldn't that make you go like, yeah, I'm a Bill Maher liberal? Dave Rubin's an idiot.
Watching it, I remember watching it live that night, and I was watching it, and I thought, holy shit, this right now, what was happening right in front of me, this is what I've been trying to formulate in my head that I knew was wrong. That the liberals, the progressives, somehow were completely unable to separate how you should be able to talk about ideas, criticize ideas.
I think arguing that Islam is like worse than Christianity is cringe. I think the only thing worse about Islam is that practitioners of Islam tend to live under theocracies, which are worse. But like a Christian theocracy has shown no less barbarity and arguably much more barbarity than anything we see out of Islamist countries. That said, I mean, like any fucking one of these religions is capable of crazy shit to one another. And yeah, I mean, it makes people just fucking unhinged, in my opinion. I don't like any religion. I think they're all fucking whack.
Without being bigoted towards people. And once I saw it like so perfectly, and maybe it had something to do with Affleck being kind of like an A-list star and kind of over the top, so it was so emotive.
He became a conservative because of Ben Affleck?
I just started talking about that on my show, and suddenly all these people started coming to me like, Dave, I'm seeing something wrong here too. And then really what happened was I started talking to some conservatives. I started talking to Larry Elder. There was a very famous moment we had. I started talking to Glenn Beck, Ben Shapiro, all of these guys. And what I found was, even though I disagree.
What do you mean you started talking to them? Dude, this is not you just starting to be curious and intellectual. I love how he's fucking trying to like rebrand this. You started getting paid by right-wing people to do these things.
Read with them about some stuff. There was an awful lot of just, live and let live. America's kind of good.
Russian money, yeah.
Let's see if we can talk this stuff out. And really all I was getting on the other side was scorched earth. So anyway, to kind of get that to exactly where your question is, this new thing that's happening right now, I don't really describe it as conservative as much as it's just pro-America, right? Because Tulsi is definitely not a conservative. Tulsi is definitely pro-choice.
Tulsi's not conservative. I love that he brings up Tulsi Gabbard. Did your Russian handlers tell you to? Because she is like straight up, genuinely a Russian asset, and it's fucking crazy that she's gonna have access to so much. I mean, it's fucked. And if you care about this country from any systemic point of view, like you're big, like maybe you're like a big, was it Tom Clancy? One of those guys. You're big into the military, and you like the hoorah stuff. You give patriotism. I mean, this shit's fucked. It's an oligarchy, and it's like a straight up fucking almost going to be a kleptocracy. We're literally working towards a Russian model if we don't get things corrected in the midterms and then the following election.
The war thing has now flipped because the Democrats have become the party of war, but RFK is definitely not a traditional conservative. But what's bringing all these guys together, it's basically a love for America. And
I big disagree. It's a love for money and power. It's definitely a love for money and power.
It's a love for free speech and hopefully a restoration of those things.
Oh, really? Free speech? How about fucking free Palestine? Huh? Do I have the freedom of speech to fucking say free Palestine? Not necessarily. Can we go on college campuses and do this shit? Huh? Can we have Palestinian speakers? Can we bring up? Can we advocate for them at all? Do they just get blackballed? You just call it fucking anti-Semitism? He's so fucking stupid, dude. Bought and paid for. I swear, if it gets real bad and they start going after like gay marriage and stuff, he's gonna be like, I'm not gay anymore. Divorcing my husband. I'm going straight. Like Milo Yiannopoulos.
So I would say it's a wide tent new conservative movement, if you want to use the conservative word. I mean, I'm married to a guy. Like that's not the most conservative thing out there. So like there's something really interesting brewing, and I'm very I've been getting a lot of cred for the last couple of weeks because it's so connected to my journey, but I'm very proud that I had anything to whatever extent I had anything to do with it. I'm very proud because I think America's back, and
I think America's back. It's going to be great and really sad to make the video compilations of watching America line go down and all of the robber barons that are in charge of it. Here's what I want, though. I want a reckoning after this is over for all of the people who steal from the coffers of America, be that Donald Trump or the rest of the administration or fucking Tulsi Gabbard, whoever at the end is done at the end of this. We need to fucking reform. We need to make this country great again. And the best way to do it would be to take care of the people that fucking live here instead of the fucking billionaires that want to own it. Cuck.
We had a little something to do with it.
Cuck.